The Passage Through the Fire, Canto XXVII. Looking close, the profound sense of all the religions and the most ancient sacred traditions always concern the path of a man, his ascent from the human to the divine. They are ideas that are impossible to adequately express in words, and so symbols are turned to, the potent, mysterious language of geometry and numbers. The human, the earthly, is always and everywhere represented by the number 4 and a square, the divine by the numbers 3 and 1, by triangles and circles. The square under and the circle over is the image of the Pythagorean tetractys of the Egyptian pyramids, and a triangle as a divine symbol was then accepted in Christian iconography. The square and the circle, Tien Ti Zhen, the great Chinese triad, the earth and the sky, and in the middle, the man. The 4 and the 3, the human being that from the initial 4 becomes, in the end, 3. So says the riddle of the Sphinx. All that is human and earthly is traditionally linked to the number 4, the seasons, the cardinal points, the ages of man, and the elements, earth, air, water, and fire, of which our world is symbolically constituted, the universe. All these symbols are woven into the weave of the comedy and contribute amply to its fascination. Page 207. In this way, at the foot of the mountain we see 4 stars. Later on these have disappeared, and in their place are 3. And my guide, "Son, what are you staring at?" And I replied, "I'm watching those 3 torches with which this southern pole is all aflame." Then he to me, "The 4 bright stars you saw this morning now are low, beyond the pole, and where those 4 stars were, these 3 now are." Purgatory 8, 88-93. The atmosphere is also enchanting, because no clarification is given on the reason for this alternation of stars. The symbol is enough. Criticism, not knowing the allegorical reason for it, interpreted the stars as the cardinal theological virtues. It is an unacceptable limitation that reduces and even defeats the purpose of the symbol. The 3 and the 4 do not allude to the virtues. It is the Church that has used for the virtues, like many other things, the ancient symbolism specifically to confer on them that pervasive, that profundity, that sense of the absolute and the sacred that solely the numbers 3 and 4 already brought with themselves for millennia. The alternation happens at the moment of passage from anti-purgatory to purgatory. The passages are fundamental. Not by chance do we see 4 of them in hell and 3 in purgatory. So again, a 4 under and a 3 above. The 4 and the 3 resonate then, again, in the puzzling verse that, at the start of Paradise, speaks of the point where 4 circles join 3 crosses. To the symbolism of the 4 and the 3/1 is also connected the ancient idea that the 4 elements of which the earth is made must be crossed in order to reach the divine. That is what Dante will do. The first element is the earth, first completely crossed to first arrive at the centre, where Lucifer is, and the tip of the cone, page 208, infernal, and through it to leave for the opposite part. Now at the end of the 7th and last circle of purgatory, he must go through the fire. In the earthly paradise, he will be immersed in the river Lethe, water, and finally rise with Beatrice through all the heavens, air, up to the Empyrean, up to God. Different from the other passages, going through fire is described in dramatic tones. The fire in which the souls of the last circle are found forms a circle that surrounds the whole mountain. There is no opening. To ascend, Dante must enter into it, and he is afraid. Virgil doesn't know what else to say to convince him that the fire is not real, but spiritual. He reminds him how he had been saved in much more dangerous situations in hell. He suggests that he tried to put a flap of his garment in the fire. He remains halting and obstinate until Virgil finds the magic word that manages to conquer his resistance: Beatrice. Now see, son, this wall stands between you and your Beatrice. In reality, there will still be more before we get to meet, beyond this wall of fire, Beatrice. Here we are in Canto 27. Beatrice won't appear until Canto 30. Beyond this wall, to my mind, Dante's consolamentum will be celebrated, of which the meeting with Beatrice will represent, as we will see, the coronation. If so, the fear that he shows, and that persists for about 50 verses, would make a lot of sense and be well founded. It is a fear that arises, he says clearly at the start, watching the fire, imagining clearly the human bodies I'd once seen burning. The spectacle of the condemned being burnt was then, unfortunately, quite frequent, comment the critics. True, but who were condemned to burn? The heretics, above all the Cathars, and among them, above all, those who had received the consolamentum. Of burnt human beings, Dante had already met them in his afterlife. Ulysses, for example, or Guido Guinizelli, both enveloped in fire, but there is no hint there, no similarity with what is happening in the Italian main squares. The only mention in the poem of this frequent spectacle happens right here on the eve of his consolamentum. One can't think that this is a coincidence, and it's coming from a very personal fear that at this point is understandable and well founded.